Hey guys, it's Natasha Toddy Weston, and you are listening to episode 23 of the Table Talk with Toddy podcast. And today we're going to talk about how to deal with business bullies. So if you're finding yourself in a place where you feel like you're running in a rat race because experts and coaches out there are making you feel insignificant or unworthy of participating in an industry that maybe you don't have as much experience as them in, or maybe you're finding yourself feeling like what you're offering is not valuable enough to either make money or make an impact. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to show you and share with you how to identify a business bully and how to deal with this type of behavior head on. So if you're finding yourself in this type of place, then I want you to just hold tight and keep on listening to this episode. And don't forget to share it with somebody that you think is a victim of business bullying, because it's a real thing that's happening, and I'm seeing it a lot, especially on social media. So I wanted to talk about the issue and see if we can come to some type of resolve and give you some really actionable tips on how to deal with this type of behavior. So if you're interested in learning how to deal with business bullies, then I want you to just keep listening.
Welcome to Table Talk with Toddy, a podcast for millennials designed to motivate, inspire, and educate you on what it really takes to live a real life on purpose. This isn't your typical podcast. You can count on me to keep it real, funky, and relatable here on Table Talk with Toddy.
Welcome back to Table Talk with Toddy, episode 23. So this is a serious topic that we're going to be talking about today, but I wanted to bring it to the forefront and shine some light on it because it's happening a lot lately. And I didn't realize at one point, now looking back, that I was too a victim of business bullying. I mean, it's so real. And I think after binge watching 13 Reasons Why this past week, it really opened my eyes to the different dimensions of bullying. And bullying is not just something that is happening amongst the teenagers and the high schoolers and children. Bullying is happening amongst adults. And as entrepreneurship and becoming a business owner becomes more popular and more well known, it's also happening in our space as well. And so I've just been really evaluating some instances that may have happened with me on, why maybe I devalued my worth, or maybe why I would not be consistent in providing my audience with value, and some of the reasons why I didn't do things the way I should have done them. And as I thought about these things and evaluated these things, the one thing that came to mind was business bullying. It's so easy, especially as, a new entrepreneur, or maybe you're fresh in this space or you're fresh in a specific industry. It's so easy, I guess, to be intimidated by someone who may have invested more money, or may have spent more time, or may have built a stronger network, or may have more expertise in the area than you, to make you feel like you got so much more to do and so much more so much more dues to pay before you can run in their leagues or run in their lanes. And I want to be the first to tell you that is one of the biggest discouragers that there are out there, and that's why so many people aren't successful as entrepreneurs, or successful period as people who have dreams and just simply wish to pursue them. So today I want to talk to you about business bullies, which I call them BBs, and how to deal with business bullies and how to identify them. So how to know who could potentially be a business bully, and just how to deal with this type of thing, because this is what's stopping a lot of people from pursuing their dreams. It's one of the things that's stopping a lot of people from just being themselves, and for allowing their journey to cultivate them and to grow them into the person, into the expert, into the leader that they are designed to become. And so let's start with the basics. I want to first define what a business bully is for those listening that may still not be clear. A business bully is someone who tries to make other business owners feel insignificant or worthless because they haven't hit the quote unquote expert phase in their business yet. So this is anybody that is, you just started a new business, you're trying to get customers and clients to buy your product or service, or maybe you're trying to be an influencer on social media and you're trying to get people to share your post or like your post, or maybe you share a tip and And these types of people, they do and say things that makes you feel like you don't have enough value to offer anyone at the stage that you're in. That is what a business bully is. And they're bold business bullies, and then they're the ones that throw the rocks and hide their hands types of business bullies. I think we've all encountered one, or if not both, at some point in time. So how do you identify a business bully? Well, in most cases, they are well known or popular in their industry. So they're the ones that get booked for all of the speaking engagements. They're the ones that are sitting on panels with people who we dream about sitting on panels with. They're the ones that are making millions of dollars a year in their business. They're the ones that don't have a problem attracting new customers and clients. They're the ones that can put a video on Instagram that has no real significance or may seem silly or stupid, and they get thousands and hundreds of thousands of likes and tons of engagement, and they're the ones that seem to have it all together. I think you guys are with me on that. You feel like they're the it crowd, they're the popular kid like in high school, and they get all the attention, and in a lot of cases they don't want anybody else to get that attention, right? Which is why they bully. And some I'll have to defend and say they don't understand and realize that that's what they're doing, but that's what they're doing. Another way to identify a business bully is that they're always like voluntarily trying to disqualify other people, whether they're in their industry or not. So they have side conversations, or they post things and say things along the line of, you got to be careful, there's so many so-called experts and blah, blah, blah. And while that is a fact, there's a difference between being careful about hiring people that may not have the expertise or not. But here's the real deal, y'all. I don't care what stage you are in and whatever business you're in or whatever industry you're in. At some point in time, you had to persuade people or portray yourself to be an expert at whatever it is that you're doing in order to get that sale or in order to gain that customer or client. And it doesn't mean that you're lying or you're pretending to be someone that you're not, but who's going to buy from somebody that seems to be weak or seems to not know their stuff? We all have to, do the sales pitches or really spice up our titles or spice up what we do or what we can offer or where we can help in order to get to expert level, right? So don't let a business bully make you feel like you don't know anything. Here's my suggestion, and here's something that I tell people all the time that say, well, I don't know enough to write a book, or I don't know enough to do a course. I don't know enough. We all are experts in our own right. And what that means is every day that you wake up, every day that you experience something new, that you learn something new, that you find a solution to a problem that you are having, is every day that you are an expert and you know at least one more thing than somebody else. Doesn't make you better than somebody else, but it just means that you are also doing the trial and error thing that every entrepreneur has to experience in order to become an expert. So the next way to identify a business bully is that they attempt to make you feel bad or place a sense of guilt if you don't invest in their product or service. You know, the ones that scream, well, you're not going to make it far if you don't invest in your business. Fact. Well, if you don't invest in this course or this program, blah, blah, blah. Okay, listen, guys, I'll be the first to say that we've all taken courses and had coaches that tell us that you have to always point out if somebody doesn't buy from you, what's going to happen for them or what negative things are going to happen. That's like a part of good copy and all that good stuff that we talk about in business school and we learn in business courses. I get it. But there's a fine line between making people just feel guilty because you just want their money versus really intentionally and really caring about what would happen if they don't invest in your product or service. And this comes to with discernment, guys. You've got to be very careful. You've got to pray and know that just because everybody else is signing up for something doesn't mean that you need to sign up for it. So you've got to go back to your specific individual goals. You've got to go back to knowing and being clear on what your path is. Where do you want to be in 5 to 10 years? And what things do you need to invest in to get to that level. So you've got to know what your goals are. You've got to know what your mission is. You've got to know your why, because if you don't, you'll continue to be swindled and feel bullied. Because I can't tell y'all how many times I felt pressured by a coach or an expert because they've got the big stage and the big platform, and I'm like, well, they've got to be able to help my business. For example, I purchased an ebook from a really well-known 6 or 7 figure business coach. I mean, she's really popular on Instagram. She has hundreds of thousands of followers, and I have no doubt in my mind that she's making the money that she says she makes. But I bought one ebook from her that, I heard people raving about, and because people were raving about it, I bought the ebook. Now, it wasn't a large investment. It was about $37. When I opened the ebook, I knew everything already in it. It goes back to the point that I made. As business owners, we all have to, in a sense, fluff up our stuff. Now, you can just hope that what the fluff is transferable into the product that you're purchasing. But the point is, all of these experts that we buy from, they too were in the shoes that you're in. They too felt some of the pressure that you feel, but they also had to go through the trial and the error. So I didn't stop there. I ended up investing in something else that she had, which was like multiple little mini courses. And honestly, I think that happened for a reason, because after realizing that, well, maybe she doesn't know so much more than I know, it gave me a sense of relief, because I was like, okay, for a minute I was feeling pressured. Like if I didn't buy it, I wouldn't get the secrets that she had. When in all actuality, she didn't have any more secrets than I already had, right? Everything that I bought, I was already implementing in my business. So you've got to continuously know what's for you and what's not for you. All of the info products, all of the courses, everything is just not going to be for you. So you've got to know and make your own decisions when it comes to who are you going to invest in or not. And don't let people make you feel bad or place a sense of guilt in you if you don't make an investment in their specific product or service. And that is why you can ask my clients. I always tell them, after a discovery call, even if you don't take on the next level of working with me and invest in a coaching call or a VIP day, here's what you can do next to move further along. Because here's the thing, people remember if you pressured them, and they remember if you help them. There's a difference. And I can guarantee you that even if you don't catch the sale or get the client or get the customer, and they know that you sincerely care about their next move, I guarantee you, you may not have gained them as a client or customer then, but you will in the future. So you've got to keep that in mind as well. And the last way, and I guess not the least, but these are the most common ways to identify a business bully, is that they don't engage with regular folks. And I put regular folk in quotation marks. They're always with the big dogs, and you've got to be around people who you want to be like, yes. But you've also got to remember to engage with the people who are putting the money in your pocket, or the people who are sharing your post or referring you to other people. And you'll find with business bullies that they're just all about themselves. They only want you to share their stuff. They only want you to engage with them. And it's a really selfish mindset that a business bully has. And so if you've ever identified any of those 4 eye openers, then you want to be aware, and you not only want to be aware, but you want to know how to deal with these types of people. You want to know how to deal with this type of behavior, because, okay, here's the thing. This isn't, these type of people, a lot of times they don't know what they're doing. They're just so used to doing it until it becomes the norm for them. So it doesn't make them a bad person. It does not make them less knowledgeable in their industries. And it doesn't mean that they don't deserve their title, their accolades, and everything else. But you've got to know how to deal with them, because if you don't, you will feel empty, you will feel worthless, you will feel invaluable. And as a result, your business will not grow, you will die as a person, and you will not leave the mark on this earth that you were born to leave. So here's how you deal with this type of behavior. First of all, use it as motivation to learn more. So to continue to educate yourself on what it is that you're doing, or what it is that you want to do and want to be good at. But don't get caught up in who's the best or who knows the most. So let me repeat that. You deal with business bullies by using it as motivation to learn more, but don't get caught up in who's the best or who knows the most. Don't. Only use it as motivation to continue to learn. Not to prove them wrong and not to become a know-it-all, but for your own sake, because it's only a matter of time before, people find out that you really don't know everything you say you know, right? So you want to make sure that you do know and that you're learning and that you're continuously learning, because here's the thing about success. Success isn't determined by your level of knowledge versus somebody else. Your success is based off of, are you waking up every day making an effort to become more knowledgeable? Are you waking up every day making a conscious decision to better serve your community or better serve your audience or the people who are connected to you? That is what your success should be based off of. The second way to deal with this type of behavior is to take a freaking break, bruh. I had to throw the bruh in there. Take a break. It is okay to back away from social media for a week or for a few days or for a couple of months, whatever. Because here is the thing. All pressure isn't good pressure to elevate. All pressure isn't good pressure to elevate. That means social media is something that I think we all use. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure you heard about it on social media or you're connected to me on social media. Myself and hundreds of thousands of other people who are all doing their own thing, who are all in their own lanes, who are all making different moves and accomplishing things and failing and succeeding. And it's like an up and down constant thing every day, all day. Right? So I feel sorry for the person that sits on Facebook or Instagram all day, because I can't imagine what your mind would look like after watching everybody's moves all day long. It's constant pressure all day, but it's pressure that you control. And so you got to know that all pressure isn't good pressure to elevate. So it's a difference between getting inspired and motivated when you see somebody getting featured on this blog or somebody getting invited to speak on this panel or somebody getting to travel to this country or do this thing or that thing, or they just hit their 6-figure mark in their business, or they just, whatever the case may be. Motivation and pressure, oh man, you've got to know the line to draw, because all pressure isn't good pressure to elevate. You've got to do things at your own pace. Otherwise, it's a never-ending rat race. Otherwise, the minute somebody does something, you feel like you need to do it. And the minute you're doing it, you won't even have the same effect that that person had. Why? Because it's probably not for you to do in the first place, right? So you've got to do things at your own pace. And this is my motto of life. Just do what you want to do, damn it. Just do what you want to do. I don't believe in this trend thing. Do what you want to do, because that's when it's the most effective, is when it comes from your heart, when the idea strictly comes from you. Otherwise, you're going to continue to chase your tail running around in a circle, and you will not be successful. You will not make impact, and you definitely will not make any money because you're too busy watching everybody else. I was telling Tyler yesterday, we walked right over to the store, and the store is literally right across the street, like a 2-minute walk. But with him, it turns out to be like a 30-minute walk, because he wants to walk and continue to look behind himself. And I told him, and when it came out of my mouth, I was like, wow, that's kind of profound. I told him, I said, you can't get home if you keep looking back. We're never going to get home if you keep looking behind you, because we have to keep stopping, and you got to look at the cars riding by, and you got to point this out. And that's what we do. That's what we do. And it's a never-ending rat race. It's a never-ending rat race. And then the last tip on how to deal with business bullies is to simply get your focus off of them. Once you've done those other two things, find your own tribe and love them to death. Find people who want to celebrate you. Find people who can use your expertise. Find people who do know your value, and stick with them. Because once you find your own tribe of people who care about you and you care about them, guess what happens? It's a cycle. They'll then refer you to other people. You'll then become the it person in that industry. You'll then become an expert in the eyes of them, their friends, and all of their network. And so it's always going to be a win-win for you. So I wanted to really highlight this topic today because it's happening so often now. And whenever I, get an inbox or a message, it's always, I feel like I'm running in a circle. Like I feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do in my business. And my question is always, well, why do you feel that way? And their response is always, because so and so did this and they got this success. And I'm like, see, that's the problem. You are being bullied and you don't even know you're being bullied. Right? So I hope that, what we talked about today will help you, and that you'll going forward be able to better deal with this type of situation or these types of situations, and know how to really navigate in your own way. And again, do things at your own pace. And don't allow a business bully to make you feel like you're insignificant or worthless, because you're not. Remember, we're all experts in our own right. And every expert or person that you look up to or that you admire in whatever industry they're in, they too were in your shoes once upon a time. They too had to go through the phase of being the inexperienced person to get to that level. And they did what they had to do to get there. And so I advise you to do the same. Just don't bully other people along the way, right? So I hope that you learned and took away a lot from this episode. If you did, please tweet me or tag me on Instagram and let me know what your thoughts are on this topic. And if you don't mind sharing with me if you've ever dealt with a business bully, how did you deal with them? And how did you move forward after any type of encounters? So that is episode 23, guys. Feel free to share it with somebody that may be a victim of business bullying, or even if this is something that you think will be valuable and helpful to anyone that you may know. So guys, that's episode 23, guys. We have one more episode before season 2 is over. Just temporarily, guys. But don't worry, we've got something else big coming up for you in correlation to my new book, which is being dropped June 21st this year. And so stay tuned. I'll be sharing that with you in the next episode, if not sooner. But just in case I decide to share it before episode 24, make sure that you text Table Talk to 31996 to become a Table Talk with Toddy Insider. You'll be the first to know the news. So Table Talk with Toddy season 2 is coming to an end. And I think in episode 24, I might do a Q&A, a fun Q&A with my sister, or maybe I'll take some questions from you guys. So feel free to tweet me some questions, inbox me, email me. Let me know some questions that you have that maybe I can wrap up the season with. And guys, don't forget to leave your reviews. I would love to get at least 20 reviews before season 2 ends. Like, that would be like the best closing out present from you guys. So please leave a review. You can leave a review on iTunes, Google Play, and I believe you can leave one on Stitcher as well. But I always look at the ones on iTunes especially. So definitely go check that. Subscribe and share with someone else. Don't keep this to yourself. I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will talk to you in episode 24.